Habs all day. Fans in the chat, we ride or die. Blue, blanc, rouge, bleed the colors with pride. Habs Hump Day. Habs Hump Day. Habs Hump Day. Echoes rise from the forum floor. Bell Center shakes with a thunderous roar. Past and present, side by side. The torch burns on, Canadiens' pride. Habs Hump Day. Habs Hump Day. Habs Hump Day.
Habs Hump Day. It's Wednesday night, December 17. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much to be with us tonight on Amazing Great Wednesday night. And, well, almost Christmas. Will be Christmas Eve next week. And by the way, we invite you to join us at the annual Christmas party Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Don't miss it. We're going to repeat what we did last year. We invite all the co-hosts, and also many of you can join us live talking about the hockey, talking about the year 2025, and many other things we're going to bring to you guys on the subject Monday night. But tomorrow, we'll be back at 7 o'clock. Montreal hosts the Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow. It's another game for the Montreal Canadiens. And then we'll be back also Friday night. Friday, we call this the Fun Friday night. We're going to decide what to do during the night. I know we don't have not much to do. Yeah, not many games in NHL Friday night. Like tonight, we have only 5 games tonight for the... In NHL, we have 4 games in action already. Panthers 2, Kings 1. The Mammoth take the lead 1-0. Again, the Detroit Red Wings, Clayton Keller score. The Jet Blues 0-0. The Hurricane take the lead now 1-0. Again, the Nashville Predator. Jackson Blake scored a goal. Nikishin, the rookie defenseman, with his 9 assists like St. Coven. Canada is 1 and Sweden 1 almost at the end of the first period. So we're watching this live right now for me directly from TSN. And we're going to give you a little bit more update when RJ Calabo is going to give you all the information you need to know. And of course, tonight is Habs Hump Day. And, of course, my subject is going to be a little bit different. The genetic problem for the Montreal Canadiens. We're going to go through this, talking about the Montreal Canadiens. And the only way we can make this happening the Wednesday night is with our co-host at home from Hawkesbury. And, of course, Marko Larabi is in the house tonight.
If I would have known, Coach, I would have worn my lab coat. I don't know. We're going to be getting so clinical and so clinical about diagnosing some of the problems. But I washed my hands, so I'm all clean and ready to get my hands in there and see what the problem is. So
I knew with you, you're going to bring some kind of solution for the Montreal Canadiens. So I said, I'm going to go that way with that. So I make some kind of checkup for the Montreal. And I got some result from the mid-skull. But now it's you to figure out what they should do for the next couple of weeks for the Montreal to find maybe a solution for Montreal play a bit better. Not like last night, honestly. But we are here for the next couple of hours to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, of course. And with many people in the chat, we welcome all of you. I'll go to welcome one by one. Why not, Marko, to see that? First of all, we have Mark Elliott is in the house tonight. Thanks to be with our Canadian show. Mark, of course, talking about Montreal and all the sport. Larry Lavalley is in the house tonight. Thanks to be with us. Hopefully you're doing well. And we have RJ Calabro knocked the door with already all the update. Thanks so much, RJ. And Artap could be at the nursing, but the nurse. But in Artap, welcome back. Luciano is in the house tonight with the Toronto Maple Leafs. What a comeback last night. Nicolas de Gobi-Bono back in the house from Sherbrooke. Welcome back. Hopefully you're doing well. Ovizio knocked the door also. Thanks so much. And then we have PLW go with Pionk and Zimelo. And Nicolas talk about Crosby to tie the most point were about Mario Lemieux. We missed one and two to beat Mario Lemieux. Why not at Montreal Saturday night? It would be a great occasion or opportunity for him to do that. Or maybe wait Sunday at home. Maybe the best way to do this. That will give Montreal to get better. Who is getting hump? Hump for Luciano tonight. Dr. Frenchy, yep. Dr. Frenchy. Stan the man is in the house tonight. Welcome back, Stan. Thanks for with us. And all of you guys, don't forget, please, to click on like. Any question you have, Marko is here with us. He's going to answer to your question. And don't hesitate to do that. We can do it at any time. But like we do at the beginning of the show, of course, we do the headlines. Marko, you go to start with your first one of the night. We'd like to do that and see what's happening there.
Yeah, Coach, last night, very, very kind of patient, game of chess between, the Philadelphia Flyers and the Montreal Canadiens. And unfortunately, the Philadelphia Flyers, they checkmated the Montreal Canadiens, playing a much, much more patient game, waiting for their opponent to make an error, always thinking a couple moves ahead and making their opponents pay for those errors. So overall, it was a pretty kind of calculated game, like not lots of scoring chances. I think overall, a lot of fans might look at the game last night and be pretty frustrated. And there's, you'd like to see Montreal generate a lot more, but you do have to get credit sometimes to the other team. And Philadelphia did play a pretty clinical defensive game. So, Montreal is going to have to learn how to be more patient. Coach, I remember I remember actually thinking this last year, right around this time of year when Montreal started playing really well. They went on that really good run right around the holidays. And I remember one thing when I was watching those games when they were going through that good phase was they're patient. They stay patient. Like they don't force things. They might go down by one goal, but they would, instead of trying to push plays or force plays, they would stay patient, wait for their opportunities. So they're going to have to find that again. Maybe that's part of the diagnosis that we'll go through tonight. But, that was my assessment, a little bit of a teaser of our assessment of the game. But, again, very methodical game and some pretty critical mistakes. Not a lot of them, but some pretty critical ones cost them the game. So that's my headline.
Now, you're right about that. There was really checkmate. I think the Flyers play a patient game, and then they really closed the game the way they want to be there. I'm going to talk about this a bit later, but really, Montreal have no answer for the way the Flyers play during the game, and that's one of the reasons, really, they got checkmate, honestly, by the Flyers. We have a few people knock the door also. PS is back at us. Roger Bouchard. Welcome back, Roger. Most of the Montreal forward was but the picture on Milk Carton, you're right, Zuski, Bolduc, Beck, etc. for GF. Talking about the Montreal last night, again, the Flyers. For me, I feel a bit the same thing, Marko. A young team, immaturity. And I'm talking about Kapanen, Demida, but it's not the picture also. It's just a pickup. They all, play together. First rookies play the second line, honestly. But, and they reflect the mistake, right? They make some mistake from the rookie last night as part of the process of rebuild team. And the immaturity, for me, is like one good game, one bad game, one good game, one bad game. And if I remember, I could be right or wrong, but I think they beat Vegas 4-1. And Vegas, the next day they go up to Colorado, bang, they got beat like badly. Last week, they beat Edmonton 4-1 Sunday, and bang, last night there was a checkout with, it was not very good, honestly, Montreal. And I think this is part of the immaturity of many players to keep the consistency. It's really difficult night out, night in, or game in, game out to play like that way. And that's part of the process with mistake from the rookie like yesterday. And that's difficult for them to play that kind of maturity. Like you can see from yesterday, the maturity, the Flyers, Couturier, example, Christian Devarek, example, Ristolainen back in the lineup. It's a guy, they are 26, 27, and I can go like some other player, connect me. And they really have also Rick Tocchet to play a good game to prepare his team and to play the way they want to show up in Montreal and to steal 2 points back home. And Montreal Flyers was 2 points behind and with 1 game in hand. So, but now they get 4 points there, and plus the game, and still have the game in hand. So at the end of the day, immaturity for me, for the Montreal Canadiens, part of the process, part of the development, is part of the be a rebuild team, honestly.
Well, I think PLW kind of stole my reaction to your headline, Coach, a little bit. And I get that Montreal's a young team here, but I don't think it's just the rookies that are being inconsistent, right? Like I think a lot of the mistakes are still coming from some of the veteran players. Last night, I think that it was like you can point the rookies specifically for last night on some of those mistakes, right? Like Demidov and Fowler and things like that. But overall, like you're still seeing a lot of veterans make mistakes as well, right? So I don't know if we'll have a chance to talk about it later, but there's a lot of debate around the systems that Montreal Canadiens use, using the hybrid system and everything else. And I have a theory, that the reason that it's really hard to be consistent playing that system, it's a very taxing system. It's a very, very taxing system on the players. It takes a lot of energy to play hybrid, where you're playing part of it man on man, and then in the offensive zone, they play kind of like a puck pursuit game. They want to pressure all over the ice. What happens is when you have the injuries that Montreal has and you can't roll 4 lines, players like Suzuki get played 22 minutes a game. And guess what happens? Like, it's hard for a player like Nick Suzuki to keep that same energy level at the same level, and it starts to impact things. So, say it's immaturity, Coach. It's chasing consistency, like we've heard Martin St. Louis and some of the players talk about recently. But if we're going to be diagnosing things tonight, is it like what is it that's causing the inconsistency? It's not because they don't want it. I don't question anybody's work, intentions. I don't question anybody's work ethic. Maybe it's just, again, like the system that they play is very demanding. With the injuries that they have, the coach is forced to play their key players more often, and then you have a compressed schedule. So just some theories that I'm floating out there, and maybe we'll have an opportunity to have people respond to them and as we go through the show here.
Yeah, definitely we're going to talk about this. Brad Bray is in the house. He asked you, so do you think Montembeault tomorrow night?
Well, he's in Laval, right? So yeah, I think he's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna play both games in Laval, Coach. I believe they play. I think they play Thursday and Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
They play a back-to-back game. I thought they would play tonight, but it looked like it's maybe Thursday, Saturday.
Thursday and Saturday and their both games are in Cleveland. And then the Canadiens have confirmed that Montembeault will be rejoining the team in Montreal, on the road in Pittsburgh on Sunday. I don't expect that Montembeault would play Sunday if he's played both those games. But if he only plays Thursday, maybe depending on the performance of Dobesh and Fowler, it's not impossible that maybe you see Montembeault on Sunday in Pittsburgh. But I don't think they're thinking that far ahead. They want to see kind of what happens in terms of performance with the goaltenders.
Yeah, I believe he's going to be the both game in Cleveland. He's going to be there. He's going to be the starter for them. And then he's going to get drive to, like you said, in Pittsburgh. And then from there, possible he play in Boston next. We're going to talk about this a little bit later.
Yeah. But just to comment on Intertap. Intertap is saying that Monty must stay down there 14 days. That's not true. He can stay up there for up to 14 days, but he doesn't have to stay there the whole time. And the team has already communicated, Intertap, that he's going to be joining the team in Pittsburgh on Sunday. So he's not going to be in Laval for the full 14 days.
Yeah, exactly about that. And he could play. Oh, wow. Eclair wave. I heard that on TV Sport last night, but did not believe it, Brad. Yeah. So he's on conditioning on this one. So,
and Brad, he didn't have to go through waivers. Like, Montembeault did not have to go through waivers. Like, there's special rules when a player agrees to be sent down for conditioning, it's not like normal waivers, Brad, where you have to pass through waivers. So it's not like all the teams in the NHL passed on picking Montembeault. He wasn't eligible to claim on waivers when they assigned him. So it's not like they sent him down to Laval through waivers. They sent him down there for a conditioning stint, which is perfectly okay if the player agrees to. And, we should mention that, right? Like, I think that was very mature and very professional of Montembeault to agree to go down to Laval and get some conditioning work with Marko or whatever his name is down there, the goalie coach. So, yeah, just to clarify that, he did not have to go through waivers.
Now, Gray, I agree with you about one. His true Pittsburgh was sold for $1.7 billion, guys.
Yeah, so we heard today, I think there's still some details to be finalized, but I forget the name of the group, but the group that currently owns the Pittsburgh Penguins, they also own the Boston Red Sox. They're going to be selling their stakes. Unclear if the new ownership group still includes Mario. I didn't follow up. I saw it a couple hours ago on my X feed, but I haven't looked since. But unclear. Maybe somebody in the chat can kind of update us if they've seen it. But unsure if Mario is still going to be part of the ownership group. But definitely a change there. So that's interesting, Coach, because as you know, that company that owns the Boston Red Sox, they're known for being a organization that really relies highly on advanced analytics to make decisions, which is why they hired Dubas, because they felt that he really matched kind of their philosophy when it comes to running sports teams. So I wonder, so now Dubas, who has a very, very long-term contract with Pittsburgh, it'll be interesting to see if there's a philosophical fit between him and the new ownership group that's there. And another question, Coach, does this affect the philosophy that the Pittsburgh Penguins have in terms of actually starting a rebuild and trading someone like Sid Crosby? So interesting development. We'll have to see kind of how that plays out in the following weeks here.
Yeah, it's a group from Chicago by it, so I don't think Mario Lemieux could be involved, but I think it's the group from Hoffman. I think his last name could be like that, buy it. And just give you an idea, guys, how the people buy the quick team in the NHL. They knew what's coming. This group of Red Sox buy it at $975 million, I believe. Now they double the revenue in 4 years only. Give you an idea, Michael, what's the last name, the guy for the Ottawa Senators?
And Lauer.
So he buy his team at $950 million, maybe. And now the team is $1.4 billion. So all the owners are going to be, double, make a lot of revenue, profitable about their team. And I think Luciano and Artap are right now trying to buy the Nashville Predator, but I'm not sure how they are doing right now. So Luciano, he wants to buy the Nashville Predator. He started to work with the Leafs. So,
Coach, let me know. Maybe we could try to purchase the Hawkesbury Hawks.
Yeah,
and start. That
was very
a little bit more.
Junior,
a little bit more
triple A.
Yeah, a little bit more in our budget.
So we got the headline, everybody. Thanks again. Pete Martin is in the house. Thanks so much. I appreciate a lot for your comments about that. We talk about the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, we're going to go there. And we're going to give you a little bit more information what's going on right there. But before that, we're going to go to NHL, if you don't mind, very quickly. NHL news tonight. Not much. We're going to focus more on the Montreal Canadiens, but bring you a little bit what's going on. We have an injury for the Flyers. Announced now the Forster is going to be out for a minimum of 5 months now with broken arm and surgery. Tkachuk could return soon with the Flyer Panthers, with the Panthers looking good right now, winning 2-1 right now. Have a really good road trip. Bobrovsky looking good. Panthers are only 2 points for the wild card. So Panthers is maybe not go nowhere. Going to be where back they should be. The Vegas announced today, Jack Eichel and Sean Theodore will be day to day. This is not very good for the team, honestly. Two of the best defensemen at their own position, so it'll be interesting. Said that. Edward is in the house tonight. Welcome back, Edward. Billy knocked the door also from Nova Scotia, as he stayed with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pete Martin, Run with Kings, knocked the door also. Brad, great. Thanks for the update, guys. I was not aware that the conditioning was his friend. I'm very happy to still. He's still. I have no problem, Brad. That's what we try to do here at the Hockey National Show. And we're going to move on back to the Canadian right there, if you don't mind. And we're going to talk about the news for the Montreal Canadiens we got for you. And they are right here. Kirby Duck skating and Caden Guhle is skating. Can you tell a bit more an update about what's going on with both players?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think so. I saw the video of Caden Guhle skating around with no pads, no equipment. It's so weird, coach, to see the players when they have no equipment on. They look so skinny on the ice, but he's skating around, kind of, there was a whole bunch of pucks on the ice, and he was kind of just skating around pretty gingerly and just kind of, testing his stick handling, but great to see him back on his skates. I think the timeline for Gouli's return is anywhere between, say, January 8th and like January 20th or something like that. So mid to late January is kind of what the date is for Caden Guhle. So good to see him back on his skates. And for Doc, we expect that he could come even before the holidays, coach. Like he is skating, not impossible. Like the problem, I think that makes it tricky, coach, is with this compressed schedule, there's just not a lot of practices for players to kind of get their feet wet a little bit and play with the guys. So I don't know how they're going to integrate him, especially it's Kirby Doc, right? They always try to be a little bit more careful with him because of his history. But listen, like for sure, it's going to be before the end of December, early January that we expect to see Kirby Doc back, and I think that's great. I think would be very, very good for the Montreal Canadiens depth. Coach, we talked about it a little bit. Now that they have Slafkovsky, playing pretty well to a certain extent, some games, anyways, he's playing well on that line with Demidov and Kapanen. Maybe that gives you the opportunity to move Budzik down, which, again, speaking of inconsistency, just not somebody that isn't really contributing to that line. And that first line is really so important for Montreal to get the results that they want. Such a dominant line in the NHL when Slafkovsky's there. Maybe it's an opportunity. Maybe Doc is an interesting solution, to try on that top line. We know he's had a lot of success on the wing. So very excited to see Kirby Doc back and see kind of what he can do. For sure, it's going to help Montreal's depth. And then we just talked about Montembeault going to Laval, and he'll be returning to the team on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly about that. We're also Kelvin Ator knocked the door. Welcome back. Thanks for with us. Appreciate that. And don't forget, please, to click on the like if you don't want to be good. Yeah, it's all right about Dak and Guhle. And for Patrick Laine, he continues to be right now to recovery. Should be back maybe in somewhere around the Four Nation before or after about the Olympics. So I think it'll be the best deadline for him. And then New York would be in March after the trade deadline. So they're still there. Whatsoever Guhle is skating, guy, it could be a little bit longer. I don't expect him next week or next at the beginning of January. It's more about the end of the January, maybe early before the Olympics. But there's going to be one interesting his case because it's not easy. For that, should be possible that maybe after holidays, I think that could be ready, Marko, the trip in Florida.
Agree. Like, it's a good opportunity. Like, if you're going to get some serious injuries, coach, right now is, right before the holidays, right before the Olympics is the best time to do it because, there's not going to be as many games. Right now is the worst time to have injuries because you're playing so many games. So, again, looking forward to, we've seen the impact of not having the depth, those having the options that Saint Louis had. Even though we're seeing players like Alex Texier come in and play pretty well. I think Kirby Doc, regardless of how you feel about him and regardless of how, he's had health issues, I think it's going to be, he was starting to play pretty well before he got injured. This injury, in my view, coach, too, is different. It wasn't an injury where he was clumsy or was nothing structural. He was just blocking a shot, broke a bone on his foot. It shouldn't be something that really is a problem with his confidence. It's not like he'll be afraid to go hit someone because he's afraid to hurt his knee. Like, it just, he blocked the shot, broke his foot. So hopefully he'll have a good return.
Yeah, great point about that. Well said. A2, congratulate you, Marko, for one of the few people, one Christian Devorak resign, everything like that. So I just want to share it with you. We're going to talk about this the next couple of minutes also. And then Mark maybe to try TC on the first line. That could be that when you return. That's something we're going to talk about this the next couple of minutes also about that situation. So we just give you guys a bit what happening for the Montreal update. We're going to talk about the recap game last night between the Montreal Canadiens and the Flyers. Dan is in the house. Welcome back, Dan. Hopefully you're doing well, everybody. Thanks to be with us tonight. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Let's talk about the Montreal Canadiens. Here we go. Mr. Enartap asks you, does Dano get traded before Friday freeze?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe under top. Like, it's not that simple, right? Like, LA is not in a hurry to make that deal. If you look at their situation, like, yes, Dano is playing third line center right now, but let's not forget that Kopitar is retiring after this year, right? So next year they would be very, very thin at center if they're not able to replace him at center right away. So maybe he gets traded, but it's going to have to be with the right trading partner. Again, Dano, even though reports are that he's requesting a trade and he's not happy with this situation, he doesn't have any say. He doesn't really have much control. I believe he has a 10-team no trade list or something like that. But so overall, LA is still kind of in control here. So if they find the right fit, and guys like I've been on the record, I think would be a great fit for Montreal. It would really help their bottom six, and really, that's the biggest problem Montreal has right now is left center face-offs, defensive situations. I think it would be a really good fit depending on the price. But I don't know if Montreal is a good fit as a trading partner for LA for Dano. So we'll see under tap. Like, hopefully there are some trades here before Christmas because it makes it fun. Like, it was a lot of fun having all those trades last week with Hughes and with the goalie swap that we saw. So we shall see.
Good point about that. Nicholas is back with us. Thanks so much to be with our Canadian show. RG confirmed tomorrow Laval play Cleveland. When is Matheson expect to return?
Well, he was listed as day-to-day, so I don't think we have tons of information on that. There's some speculation. We know that Matheson has had back issues in the past, so I know. So again, there's no reporting out there specifically what the injury is, but it is, I guess, a good sign that it's day to day, not week to week. So we'll have to see. But and coach, I don't know if you thought of this, but at the end of the game versus the Oilers, where Matheson ended up playing like 5 of the last minutes of the game, like he stayed on the ice the last 5 minutes. Do you see a coincidence that he, the next game he has I don't know, like to my point earlier, coach, about how when you have injuries and like you're forced to play your players too many minutes, these are the things that can happen, right? So we'll hope that Matheson can kind of you can definitely see a difference in Montreal's game with Matheson not being there last night. So hopefully it's not too long, but no official word yet, guys, unfortunately, day to day.
Yeah, you're absolutely about that. Condition of Mike Matheson too. One thing I would say to you guys today was optional practice for the Montreal Canadiens. So Matheson was not there, and they have no confirmation about anything. So it was just optional. So almost like a day off. So we don't know exactly. So he's considered like a day-to-day. More information is going to be, of course, after the press conference tomorrow morning, after practice for that one. Pascal Vincent confirmed Montembeault would play both game in Cleveland. He returned with Habs. Afterwards, Vincent got injured on the hockey play on Sunday for PLW. About that, so we got everything. Marko, I'm going to give you an overview of the game. And I'm going to start with the bad things, or the good, and then after that, the good things. And then you can tell us what you think about Montreal Canadiens game. Flyers, excellent game, like you mentioned to you, honestly. Flyers blocked the middle, don't give anything. They was really structured, organized, really follow the plan. Had three big mistakes, Suzuki, Demidov, and Fowler. We're going to talk about them the next couple of minutes. Goal at the end of the period, that's happening again for the Montreal Canadiens. This is something they gave a lot of time. 10 shots after 40 minutes for the Montreal. Bad preparation for the Montreal Canadiens. No adjustment during the game. No spark again when it was 3-1. At the third period, we would expect maybe something could happen. 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, and then nothing happened. No chance, nothing. Sakoski behavior versus Adam Ekstrom. Demidov behavior after Sakoski got hit. Behavior of Xhekaj is trouble. And Martin St. Louis decision during the game and before the game. And then I'm going to get the Great Kings, the Great Things. We don't have a lot, but TC 1 goal, third goal of the season. His second back-to-back game, his third in the last 4 games. Finally, Hudson played over 27 minutes, so grab a couple of minutes of the Mark Matheson last night, honestly. Good performance of the Jake Evans and Josh Anderson. Again, that Lineson Evans came back from a mystery injury with TC. I have a lot of wheel yesterday for the Montreal Canadiens. So here, my friend, you got everything you need to know about the game and maybe more you can bring to you guys on this game between the Montreal. And let me know what you think about this, Marko.
Can you go back to your first slide there? Because it's a lot to remember for sure. All right, so listen, like again, like a lot of people might look at that game yesterday and come to the conclusion that they had no legs or they weren't trying or you have here like no spark or whatever. But coach, that's what happens when you have a tight checking game like that, right? Like if there's not a lot of opportunities to do that, right? So to me, that's perfectly fine playing a game like that. Like, and for the most part, Montreal played that game, I think, pretty well. They did limit the Flyers. The Flyers didn't have a ton of scoring chances either. But like I was saying, it was like a game of chess, right? And the first goal, I wouldn't say it was Philadelphia made a mistake, but it was just a really nice play on the rush that Montreal did. Evans passing it into the slot. So it's kind of like a rush goal, which is a little bit different than kind of what Philly was allowing for most of the game. But then the tying goal that happened right away, there was a bad turnover by Suzuki right in the middle of the ice, and again maybe like they didn't kind of like recover. And like Martin St. Louis says all the time, it doesn't matter what the system is, it's very hard to recover from a turnover because it's a turnover. Like everybody's going one way and then you turn it over and it's hard to get back to the ideal defensive posture that you want to be in, right? So with that first goal, they just weren't able to get back into position, and then they did a nice passing play. Fowler had no chance of the puck going one side of the ice to the other. Then the second goal, coach, this is a little bit kind of what I'm talking about with chess, right? If you've watched me on this show before, you know that one of my biggest pet peeves and one of the biggest dangerous things that teams can do is turn over the puck at their blue line or at the offensive blue line. Like turnovers at the defensive or offensive blue line are murder, because if you turn it over there, then it's very, very hard to kind of to recover, right? So on the second goal that Philadelphia scored, you have Demidov that has the puck, and then you have Carrier that pinches in, and it was just kind of like a confusing play, right? Like Carrier didn't really get the puck, but then Demidov didn't let him take the puck, so he kept the puck, and Carrier all of a sudden is behind Demidov deeper in the zone, and then Demidov turned the puck over, right? So to me, that's still a mistake, coach. It's a turnover, it's an unforced error, and then you have a quick 2-on-1 going there. Quick break the other way where they make it 2-1. And then, of course, we know the mistake that Fowler made behind the net, right? So I don't know, coach, if I buy that there's no spark. I do feel that they actually again, it's very hard to come back when a team is playing well defensively. It's hard to break through. It's hard to kind of create everything if they're clogging the middle of the ice, like you're saying, right? But I did see that Montreal did create a little bit more. Like they were able to start getting more shots towards the net. Unfortunately, to me, the biggest thing that you don't have on here, coach, is traffic to the net, driving the puck to the net. Like, that's the biggest thing that was missing, because they were starting, like, you remember, they were only had 10 shots after the first two periods, but at the end of the game, the shots were almost equal. But they were starting to pepper the goalie with shots from kind of outside. And again, nobody was going to the net for rebounds. So that's one thing, coach, that with the type of team that Montreal has, they need to get better at bringing the puck. Like, and if you look at Montreal in terms of how they create offense, I believe they're the 8th team in the NHL that creates scoring chances off the forecheck. So it's not bad. Like, they can do it. But, sometimes it's just hard to kind of get their deep game going. And last night, it was just something that they weren't able to do. So overall, the 4-1 looks like a pretty ugly score, coach. But if you take away those two mistakes, it's a pretty even game. Davidoff hit a couple posts as well. He had that one shot. And then there was like a tip that he had that hit the post as well. So overall, I don't think it's as bad as people like. The score looks worse than the game was. It was just a tight game. In terms of the Slafkovsky thing, I think, I would agree. Like, it's, it's probably something that you want to address in the dressing room. If indeed he was upset at Engstrom for that suicide pass where he got rocked by Ristolainen. And by the way, coach, I think that's the first time in a long time that we've seen Slafkovsky get rocked like that. You remember, in this first couple of seasons, it was almost every couple games he was getting rocked. So it's good that doesn't happen very often to him. And at first, I thought he was just mad that he got rocked, but then we heard some reports that he was actually mad at Engstrom. So if that's the case, then for sure I agree that's something that should be done in the dressing room. I have no problem with Davidoff going after Ristolainen after that. To be honest, I liked it actually. Montreal killed the penalty. Those are the kind of penalties that you don't mind taking, sticking up for a teammate. So I didn't have too much of a problem with that. I don't know what you mean by Xhekaj and Struble behaviors, and what decisions are you worried about MSL, coach? I'm not sure I know which ones you're referring to.
All right. So last night on the play, the Ristolainen destroys Slafkovsky. Xhekaj is right there beside Demidov. And after that, he did not move about that. And after, during the game, Struble and Xhekaj, I think they are there to play a specific role with the thing. I don't say running, he dropped the glove, everything like that, right? But I think they're missing again. This is what they are. They are on the lineup for a specific role. And I think they did not bring that spark I'm talking about when it was 3-1. Philadelphia doing everything. I'm telling you right now, if it was Nicolas Deslauriers on the other side, he will go right there. After that, he will make what happening there on the ice. He did not do anything about that. I'm not pointing only Xhekaj. I'm talking about Struble. I think Anderson tried. I think Anderson tried one time, but again, nothing happened. But I'm telling you right now, it will happen. If he was Deslauriers, he will do something about that. And then Martin St. Louis, it's about decision. Like, you have a couple of decisions I think he need to, for me, he was not there. First, the preparation of the team. I think the Montreal was not ready yet. The first 10 minutes, it was just there, hanging there. 10 shot on the net. Then, for me, if we can see Marko for what we are, him and tail end, and you are at home on the couch, whatever. Bolduc does not work with the first line with Suzuki Caulfield. This is your line supposed to be the spark of the team, right? It's supposed to be action after action, play hard, everything, then a great opportunity, everything like that. And I don't know if Bolduc are the same style of Caulfield. Like, both them are sniper. You agree with me? Both are sniper. Like, Bolduc is a sniper, and Caulfield is too. So both of them have the same. And sometimes at the puck, they don't know, should I shoot the puck, or I should keep the puck, everything like that. And
I don't think that's the issue. I don't think that's what the issue is. But can finish your point, coach, and then I'll respond after. But.
So my point of view about this, after the 40 minutes, I think they should remove Bolduc and realize, you know what, TC have a good game right now. And maybe I'm going to start the third line, the third period with Tessier and the first line, and then Budzik drop down, and then to create some kind of the spark, whether the Montreal do, and not too much about this. And last night, I'll give you an example. I think it was Caulfield was his key. I think it was Caulfield. And Budzik was alone on the right side, and he keep the puck. He showed the puck to the net. So those kind of decisions, the last couple of games, Suzuki and Caulfield, they are struggling to finish the game, to finish the play, and this is what we're looking for. We need. Without the first line, we know we are not a very good team on the scoring goal, right? We don't score a lot of goal without them. So I think this for me was Martin decision, and then Martin decision. Why to start Fuller last night and not Tobash? Like, I don't get it. I don't know. It's I don't get it, but I can understand it's easy to talk about this 24 hours later in the night, but I wish we know why he used Fuller versus Tobash. I tried to explain last night, so maybe because the statistically, after one game, a day off, a 2 day off, 3 day off, a 4 day off, Tobash is better, but I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. That decision also with Martin St. Louis. So,
all right, let me try.
sorry
Let me kind of.
It will be a little longer.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. So let me try to go through some of those, and like, so in terms of using Bolduc on the first line, I think I heard somebody say, and I agree. Like, I would say that Bolduc's game is a north-south game, right? Yes, he is good at he was supposed to be good at hunting pucks, and he can shoot the puck, but he's more of a north-south player. And Suzuki and Caulfield don't play that way. They do a lot of give and goes. They do a lot of cycling, and you need pretty high level hockey IQ to do that. So I think that's probably why it's inconsistent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For some reason, it works better on the road than it does at home. So I think Martin St. Louis and the whole management team, they see the analytics, the underlying numbers of how less effective the first line is without Slafkovsky there. But coach, I think it's just a reality of injuries, right? Like they look at what they have, and they feel like they need to spread it out. Because like I said, like, and I'm gonna say this as a theme of the show today, guys, that in order for Montreal to play their system, they have to be able to roll lines, and you need to spread it out a little bit more. So by loading your top line like that, you notice that he does this sometimes in the third period when he's closing out a lead and stuff like that. But I think they realize that if they're going to play the system that they want and be able to keep the energy at the level that they need to be effective at that system, they need to be able to play all the lines. So I don't think it's the ideal fit there with Budzik. That's what I was talking about. Maybe Doc would be a better fit there if they want to keep Slafkovsky on that line with Kapanen and Demidov. So I don't know if it's necessarily you can blame St. Louis. Like, he only has the resources that he has, coach. I guess you could say, and for having Texier moving him up to the first line, you could easily argue, like, well, the Evans, like, and you said it, the best line on the ice was Evans, Anderson, and Texier. So if you have one line that's going, maybe you just leave that line. He liked what he was seeing with that line. So why would you move Texier up to that line? So I don't know. We agree, though, that sometimes Martin St. Louis could be better at bench management, but I could debate it each way. When it comes to Fowler starting, I think it just makes sense because if he doesn't start that game, then the next game he's probably going to be starting would probably be Saturday or Sunday, right? So that's a long time for him to sit. So maybe it's just keeping both guys engaged. So maybe not wanting to have Fowler sit. I don't have yes, maybe you could argue that playing against Chicago might have been an easier game for him versus the Flyers. But I think, you have to kind of see what you have. Like, the whole point of bringing Fowler up, coach, is they want to evaluate him. So let him play at home. Let him play against a bit of a tougher opponent and see how he did. And overall, it's not like he did bad, but he did obviously have that one crucial mistake. But you can't say that, they lost the game because of Fowler. It's not goaltending that, for once, it wasn't goaltending that was the issue for this game. It was just, again, not able to break through a very, very defensive, effective team with Philadelphia, and just losing your patience and making a couple of mistakes. So I get why people might have some of those questions, Coach, but just giving you the devil's advocate point of view as to why St. Louis would do those things.
Yeah, a lot of great point you mentioned to you. Just try to pick it up here. Some people, if you don't mind, Marco, then I will go to consult with you. Too many injury from PS on that one. And then Cole Holding is next. Mail about this player now. The cat, we have a cat for the last couple of days. He pop up and now he come on me. So he was with me for a couple of minutes. Like he liked to go on the desk. So I tried to holding him a little bit longer, so it's all good. Nicolas Bodzik is like a mule on the ice, 0 IQ on the ice for PL. Sakeski is in no position to yell at anybody with all the pucks he turned over. Not running, not winning a Stanley Cup, just try to develop. Rob Sulkide, I got it. Martin St-Louis has managed goaltender poorly the last two seasons. And then pass one a puck pour compter un but Bodzik is not many goals. What?
Let me just say, like, it's not just Martin St. Louis that makes decisions on goalies, right? Like, it's the whole management team. Like, if you hear Martin St. Louis talk, it's not just him making the final decision. The whole management team, including the goaltending coaches, probably including Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton, they're talking about this together. Like, the decision to call up Fowler, that's a decision they took together. So I'm assuming that the overall strategy for goaltending, you'd assume the goaltending coaches have a really, really big part to play in that. But it's so to just blame Martin St. Louis for mismanaging goaltending, I think is unfair because it's not just his decision.
So can I ask a question? I think it's a good question. And because I'm sharing that with something happened, but I don't know how this coming from, but maybe in the comments on my video, sometimes people ask me questions or whatever it is. Again, for all the people in the chat, and I know how this works usually, but I would say to you, Marko, for me, when I coach, and I'm not compared to Martin St-Louis, not at all, but I'm telling you one thing, I'm not good in coach on goalies. Like, I'm not good. I can sit with you for all the system and the game, video game, everything like that. I know a little bit about goalies, but to tell you what to do, everything like that. So I have a goalie coach. And I would say, look, give me the schedule of what you're thinking, everything like that. And it's really where I feel I maybe change. So, okay, but I think we should go with Williams tonight and not go with my Finland kids. Anyway, but I will trust my goalie coach. Do you think Martin St. Louis, like last night, he take the decision, or is Raymond tell him, or he get consultation and then he take the final decision? It makes sense. Like I don't want to put you on the trouble. By the way, I just want to hear how you feeling about that. How do you feel about that? How do you think is happening?
Well, I don't know if you were. What I just said before you asked me that is that Martin St. Louis shouldn't be blamed for being the one making the only decision. It's if you listen to what Martin St. Louis says, he's talking to the entire management team and coaching staff about those decisions. So the decision to call up Fowler, that wasn't just Kent Hughes' decision. They made that decision as a team. So yes, they make that decision as a management group and as a coaching group. It's not just Martin St. Louis doing that. So for sure, like the goalie coach has a huge influence in terms of giving their point of view in terms of how the schedule should play, right? And then I'm sure St. Louis, Hughes, Gorton, Robidas, they all have their word to say. But I think the way that it should work in theory is Martin St. Louis is the one that has final say on lineup, right? That's usually how it works in a hockey team, coach, if I'm not wrong, is, you can debate and everything, but at the end of the day, it's the coach's responsibility to take the final decision. But wink, wink, the management team is going to strongly give you feedback as to why they think that way. And the thing is that they work very well together as a management group. So that's why I think it's total. Anybody that would say you should blame Martin St. Louis for mismanaging the goaltending situation. If you want to blame anyone, blame the whole management team, not just one guy.
Yeah, I think for me it was not about. I think in after maybe go that way, maybe more about the fact like Martin Louis about the want to remove the goaltender, keep him on the ice, everything like that. Maybe that's why maybe he's thinking also.
Oh,
But I understand your
oh,
point of view. By the way, I'm not disagreeing with what you just said. I think
yeah,
it's more about. But he has the final because he's the head coach, right? He's paid to
yeah.
get $1 million to get that one, so I can understand that. But I'm not sure, like the percentage of like Martin Louis always said after, he does not know about too much about goalie. He tried to become better, everything like that. But how much he pay is what Eric Raymond tell him, how much he influenced him to take a decision like last night. And I will tell you for the people in the chat also, and Mark, welcome in the house. By the way, he was at the game yesterday. So everybody, thanks
Right.
again. Here's my point of view about this, Marco. And it's happened, Johnny says, at the beginning. Tobesh have an excellent season right there. He's going well, everything like that. And then every time, we need to put Montembeault because we need to bring him back, like bounce back, everything like that. And boom, again, Montembeault. Now Tobesh, he wait, and then he start to go down. And he go down, then he go back up and down, everything like that. But after a great performance like Sunday, like honestly, he have a really bad game. The 2 games before that, he had 0.7 something like that, whatever it is, right? He had a really good performance yesterday again, Edmonton, everything. Now he is hot. Now this is great. Like, why not to go back with him, like for Tuesday
Coach,
and
it's not
then
like he's gonna
Thursday
wait.
and
It's
follow
not like
Thursday
they're gonna
because you
make him
just
wait.
get out of this game and like
I don't buy that. I don't buy any of that. Like, it's not like they're gonna make Dobesh sit for like a week here. Like he's it's gonna be like 2 extra days that he doesn't play. Like, if you get out of your groove just by missing one game or rotating, then guys, that's just the reality of what the NHL is going to be in the next
but
15
why not
years.
to
Like,
go back with him? Why they don't
well,
go with him? He
because like
just get just a great game, and then follow have a very bad game again. The New York Rangers was so. So why not to
he
go
didn't
with
have
your
a
hot
bad.
goalie
Oh,
right
whoa, I
there?
don't think he had a bad game. I don't think Fowler had a terrible game against the Rangers. I don't think he had a terrible game. Like, he
Compared to
was
the
not.
first game he has,
Yeah, it wasn't as good as the first game, but you
he have
can't
an average
blame
game. So for me,
average.
Tobesh have a
Bad is
better game.
average is
I go with Tobesh Tuesday.
you
He
said
just
very
gave us.
bad.
He just beat McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. Without him, we lose the
Yeah.
game possible. So you get him back Tuesday, and
Guys, like
then you go back with the Thursday with Fowler. It's also Chicago. So it'd be better to go that way. I did not just, for me, I just don't understand why they not keep Tobesh. You just get a very good game.
I listen. I don't know, right? Like, I'm assuming that they have a lot of information, that we don't have, right? Like, we're not
Oh,
inside.
yeah,
We
I
don't see.
understand that. I just said earlier,
Yeah.
the analytics is not favorized Tobesh game after game or game a day off one day. That's I agree with you about this one over there.
We just
I
saw
just
like
for me,
we just saw in Toronto, coach. We just saw in Toronto, coach. Like, so they had Joseph Wall that came back. They're like, okay, let's ride the hot goalie, and boom, guess what? He hurts his groin, right? So it's a very taxing. Like, trust me, like, I get it. The easy thing to say is just ride the winning goalie, but you have to have a view of the larger picture here, guys. Like, you have to look at the bigger picture, and you have to look at managing the whole thing. Like, I get it. Sometimes some games are bigger than others, and sometimes you have to double down. But my final point on that is, if Dobesh is going to be affected by being in a rotation, that's going to be an issue, because guess what? That's what the future of the NHL is. No goalies play 60, 65 games a year, guys. It's always going to be a tandem from now on, because it's too taxing.
or
So
at
if
least you have a
Dobesh is
really
going to
good
be,
goalie.
yeah, it's very rare though. Like, and arguably, like, even guys like Hellebuck, if I was in charge of the Winnipeg Jets, I wouldn't let him play more than 60 games,
No, but
because
you
look
talk
what
about
happens.
Ottinger, Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, Chesterkin, Sorokin. You have about 8, 9 teams. They use really the goaltender more because they have a really good goaltender. Fowler could become that players also.
I don't know. We'll see. Like, it's very early to kind of conclude on Fowler. Like, he is the one thing with Fowler. Like, I
Rose
love his
in
character.
Nashville, that's another one over there. It will be interesting what happened with Wellstead. Wellstead swimming with Boston. That's another one over. You know what I mean? Like, I understand your point of view. I'm not disagree with you. It's going to be because the schedule is getting crazy, and you're 84 game now, and I agree with you about that. Like, you have to be a little bit more caution. But I think for me, this game, I think I will go with Tobias. Anyway, so sorry, we have to move on. Stood out, obscure at the office, a turning point.
For me, stood out. I guess I'll go with. I'm going to go with. I think it's obvious that Texier, was probably the forward that stood out the most. Like,
Yeah.
not just because he scored, right, but just a lot of really creative plays. And like you said, that whole line, I think, was Montreal's best line last night. So to me, he stood out for sure. It's hard ever to say that Hudson would be the obscure guy, because he's just not obscure, right? Like, he's so visible out there. So I guess you can say we'll go with like Josh Anderson, right? Because that line played really well. He, like you pointed out before, he did try to kind of like spice things up in the third period a little bit to get his team going. So I'll say for me, obscure would be Josh Anderson. You could easily say Jake Evans as well. At the office, I think you have a lot of potential people to choose from here. I think probably the last 3 times I've been on, I probably said Budzik, and unfortunately, it would probably be Budzik again that you bring into the office. And again, it's you really want to just kind of get him to focus on the things that make him successful on the road, coach. Like I said, it might not be a fit long term with him being with Suzuki and Caulfield, just because you really need to understand give and go plays and learn to read to arrive at the right time. It's a lot of a timing when you're doing cycle plays and give and go plays like that in the offensive zone. But if I was him, saying, listen, like, it may be challenging for you to play with these guys, so I want you to focus on just being a good F3 or being a good F1, getting down there and just get the puck back and try to put yourself in a position to shoot. Like, but he needs to do something, coach. Like, even though it's not the ideal fit, he needs to do something to be effective for the team. For me, the turning point for sure is the Fowler mistake and that goal. Even though you don't love the second goal, you could just see like the legs were just absolutely cut after that goal, unfortunately. So to me, that would be the turning point, is Fowler's turnover behind the net.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people stood out. If you think of that, most of them are almost similar, for sure. Look, stood out, not many, but I will go with TC on this one. He scored a goal. Most of his presence on the ice, Marko, something was going on. Like, he had something like that one. I think he bring that line better, more energy for Anderson and Evans with TC.
He brings skill to that line. Like, did you see that little play that he did, like where he passed it to himself behind over like along the boards? It's very creative, right? Like, he's a very creative guy. If he could ever learn to win more of his one-on-one battles, he would be and he can do that consistently, coach, then he for sure has a role in Montreal's top 9. Like, you could easily see him play on the third line. And then if he were able to stay like that, he makes a player like a Newhook maybe expendable, right? Because, so we'll see if he can do that consistently. Maybe that creates an opportunity to do something with Newhook if you need to.
6.11 game, by the way, for TC. Obscure, you go with Josh Anderson. I can go with Jake Evans. You know what I mean? Like, you're not wrong about that one over there. I really like yesterday another game from Ekstrom, Marko. We don't talk too much about him. You know what I mean? It's obscure. It's a kind of player like that. So that's a good one there. At the office, you took Budzik, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go with Suzuki. And at the office for Suzuki is like yesterday again, long shift. Anderson's a lot of pressure. Anderson, look, I check also because PLW talk about his shift, and I'm looking about his stat. Like, Yeah, point every almost every game, like 2 point, 1 point the last couple of games. But last night, he know better, Marco. Uh, that we just get a goal. It's about game management, right, Martin? So we talk about game management, everything like that, and he did not take a right decision right there, and he created a turnover. We have after that everything fall apart. But he start with that part. He know better. That's my point behind that. He know better is his key on this one. In the only game, it was difficult for him. So I go
I'm
with him.
inspired, coach. Like that's the point I wanted to make earlier is that you can only bleed so much blood from a stone, right? Like they need to spread the ice time out more because it's just I don't think it's reasonable that you can expect him to have that same energy level. Remember Martin, one of my favorite lines, coach, from Martin Saint Louis, or one of my favorite concepts from Martin Saint Louis. Remember when he used to talk about how the NHL is an 80-20 league, right? You can't play at 100% every game because you just can't sustain that over 82 games. So you want to do 80-20, right? So if you can be consistently at 80% of your best, but even if you do that, coach, like if you're 80, if the coach is asking you to give 100% each night because he's playing you too much, it's hard to keep that energy level consistent over that period of time. So I just don't see I just don't see that we can be surprised that we're going to see Suzuki hit a wall a couple times this season
But
because
it's
of how
happened
much
every year, right? Yeah, well, always like six,
yeah,
7, 8, 9 in game. I think January
yeah,
usually, and then he flies back.
yeah.
So again, maybe we are hard on him, but I think it's about yesterday the that mistake right there, Marco. I think for me, like he know better. Does it make sense? Like with experience he has right now.
That's
Um,
when you make dumb mistakes, coach, is when you make dumb mistakes when you're tired. Like you're right. He knows better. Like that's when you make bad mistakes. You're just not at your best. And
Exactly, I agree with you. The turning point, Marco, yeah, and that goal is key is one of them. But I think that they'll go Fuller on that one, and he cut the legs. Like he really cut the legs on the Montreal Canadiens. After that, you can see the Flyers shut down at Montreal, and Montreal could not return in this game because that situation. And I think that goal was really a turning point for me. Talking about this for the people in the chat, a lot of great comments about Ekstrom, everything like that. Antoine, welcome back. Also, welcome again, Nicholas. And I forgot someone else. I apologize. So don't forget, please, to click on the likes. I will say to you, Marco, this question. And the people in the chat, we have some kind of people last night, we blame Fowler and mistake is a young defense, is a young. But are you agree with me? I would say to you, it's 50-50. 50, I have to give to Fowler the blame. And 50, you have Dobson on the board. You have another forwards coming down. You have Hudson Kapanen on the right side. And it looked like when he got the puck, he bubbled with the puck a little bit, right? He bubbled like he want to put this on the right, under his stick very well. And the time, everything is like everybody play for the Montreal freeze. Like they go on they say, I'm going to my dots, and I seal my dots and wait for the follow to give the puck. And the guy from maybe Mishkov, he screamed to him, I'm coming. Leave me behind, whatever it is. Maybe some other Flyers, we don't know exactly. We're not on the ice. But I think it's a part of 50-50, Marco. I think Fowler make a big mistake. I understand that. He told after the game. But I think the player also should helping him. Is a young goaltender starting in NHL.
Yeah.
I think the player knows a bit better about that. I cannot remember who it was coming with Dobson on the left, on the right side of the bench. But
So
what do you think about that?
From what I remember looking, so if you're looking at the net from the center ice, kind of, and I'm trying to remember it, you had Dobson on the left side, and then you have Hudson and another player. You're right, but then there's Hudson behind the net, like in the corner, and he was completely alone. And Fowler was looking right at him, like he's looking right at Hudson. Nobody's there. So to me, maybe just everybody thought that it was so obvious that he should pass the puck to Hudson because he was looking right at him. There was nobody in front of him or anything like that. So maybe Hudson could have did a beaver tail, like a beaver clap, and give me the puck. But that's kind of like not something you want to do either, right? That can be insulting, kind of like we're talking about Slavkovsky not calling out
Well,
your
but it's like
teammates.
Fuller, he should recognize it's like me when I speak English, my accent. So it was Mishkov. He's a Russian guy.
Maybe, but so it's hard, like you said, Coach. It's hard to tell. Like we don't have the footage of exactly what he was seeing.
Yeah.
So listen, could one of his teammates said, "Move it," or pass it to Hudson or whatever, right? But to me, just from the angle that I saw, he was looking right at Lane Hudson. He had a clear pass to him. He did bumble it a little bit, but he still had lots of time. It's just a brain cramp, right? I think is what it is, and it like I don't know if we should read into it more than it is. I'm sure he will never do that again. Let's hope so.
A lot of great people talking about Angstrom, Matheson, everybody else also. We're going to bring that subject in the next couple of minutes also with Adam Ekstrom. Canada went 2-1 against Sweden tonight. Canada start the 26th against Czechia. We're going to do that game live for the World Junior Championship.
Did we see how Michael Hage play tonight?
Yeah, he got an assist. He was on the ice for the 2 goals, I believe, with Martin tonight. 2:28 to go remaining for the Los Angeles Kings, losing 3-2. And they have a power play of 1:20 to go. And they try to go now with an empty net, I believe. And we'll see if they can capitalize on the 6-on-4 on this one.
The big game, though, Coach, is Detroit. Detroit is losing 2-0 right now against Utah with 13 minutes left. I think that's the most important game for Montreal tonight. We know Detroit's been just keeps piling up the points. It's gonna they're kind of pulling a little bit away, not pulling away, but it would be nice for Montreal if Detroit can drop these 2 points in Utah to help with the race here for sure.
Definitely about that. 1:44 to go, guys. 6-on-4 for the Los Angeles Kings. And they tried to get tie the game. Again, 2 passes on the back ends. On that one, the Kings, difficult time to score the last couple of weeks, game for sure. They don't get it. Again, they control the puck on the defensive side, but don't have a chance to get the puck in the net yet. And they go back at blind now, control the puck with 1:16 to go, 11 seconds to go power play. Fiala with Kopitar and Dottie and broken sick right now for the Los Angeles Kings, and by the way, and Bobrovsky make a save on that one. Here we go. Sorry about that. We're to get live about this.
While we're talking about the World Junior team, so I don't know if you have this as a topic later about Hage being on the first line playing center right now, but it's good, right? Like I think that would be cool, but we know that Misa is going to be joining the team, so it's possible that he's like right now. I know he's playing with McKenna, so it's not a guarantee thing that Michael Hage is going to be playing first line for World Juniors, and it's not guaranteed that he's going to play center. But let's hope so, because it would be nice to see him play at center on one of the top lines for the whole tournament. I think that would be fun to see.
He should be on the top 6 for what we heard. So good for him.
Top 6.
By the way, guys, they could have City Bruni.
Yeah. Crazy.
Let's move on for the absentee problem for the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to bring you guys something. After that, we're going to go break down for Marko Larrabee. After this breakdown, we'll go to about maybe 10 minutes about that. I apologize, it's not there. We're going to go on the operation table right now, and we'll talk about Montreal Canadiens. So I'm going to give you 3 different breakdown, maybe breakdown, honestly. And I know some of you will be disagree, some of you will be, that is crazy. But again, I dynastic everything. So after that, that's the reason we bring that. So we'll have a conversation in that chat. You be agree, disagree, whatever it is. But we'll see. Oof. Some people in the chat, and the Fleur Panthers, you still a lot of good cheese in the chat and the building. With that, here we go. Hugo roster, Mr. Marko. Dobson, $9.5 million over Hudson at what, 9.2 maybe? 2 first-round pick for him. Both players play at the World Junior Championship, by the way. Atkinson and Eklam play tonight. Henneman with 11 goals on this one. This is the first checkup for Mr. Ken Hughes or Hugo. And then the second one, guys, is Russell roster during the summer. Villano, Tessier, now they can pick it up him. It bled during the summer. The second center, they gave the job to Kapanen. Finally, they get out Devorak in Armia. They don't get anything in return because they keep the team all the way to the playoff, everything like that. And that's happening right there because you always the one talk about the roster construction, everything like that. And I don't want to go like Kovacevic, the trade New Hope, Doc. It's not a point because I was trying to go with what they got for the last 6 months. We did the checkup or the mid-call from them last year, so I don't want to repeat what happened last year. Is what we got the last couple of weeks. So tell me about this for the Hugo situation. If you want to ranking them or maybe to give them a little bit how you consider them on the scale of 1 to 10. 10 is the best. About Hugo, where are you with that situation for the Montreal Canadiens?
All right, so we're doing a checkup on overall how Hugo has performed, I guess. Is that the guy? And
the management right now. There's a checkup for mid-scout for the management. Okay. Following after that, the Martin St. Louis and the players.
Okay, so I think overall, I still think it's a good trade to trade for Dobson. There's two things that I would look at that were big moves this summer, right? So there's the trade for Dobson, and then there's the trade for Budzik with Mayu, right? If you guys remember, I was all in favor for the trade for Budzik. The only thing I was a little worried about is that if Montreal eventually is going to trade for a second line center, Mayu is probably one of the pieces that maybe, because a right-handed defenseman is very valuable, right? So was that the best use of that asset to go get another winger, right? That was my only question. And as we can see, Budzik so far, it's just unsure whether it's the best fit. But there's still lots of time. He's still very young, so that might end up being a good move. But again, we're talking about roster construction, asset management, guys. Montreal doesn't have the years of Montreal having 2-3 first-round picks and all that. That's over. We just have our own first-round pick this year. We don't have as many assets moving forward as we did over the last couple of years. The assets are starting. I'm not saying they're thin. Montreal still has good assets, but it's not limitless. It's not bottomless, the amount of assets that they have. So like we've talked about, this is the most challenging part of a rebuild, is the roster construction, taking the assets you have, exchanging them for specific pieces that you need that are going to fit to make your team a championship team. I have no problem with with the Dobson deal. That was just a market rate. I've heard other people complain. I think it was Marinero last night. Somebody was saying that it's unfair that Hudson is making less than Dobson. Guys, there's stories like that all across the NHL of players making less than another player. It's just how the NHL works, right? Dobson signed when he was about to become a UFA. You can't compare the two. Hudson made a great choice. He made a great choice and a great decision for the team and for himself. I have no issue with that. Would you like to see a little bit more from Dobson? Absolutely. I think we're starting to learn more about him, and we're starting to see what Islanders fans are saying, where he can be really effective, but expect at least once every 2 games, you're going to see kind of a brain cramp or something like that. So I was saying we're starting to appreciate that, but overall, I still think he brings a lot more than there is negative. So I have no issues with the with the asset management there, trading Heineman, 2 first-round picks for for Dobson. Again, we see that Heineman is being really effective with the Islanders. Could we use a player like that? Absolutely. But a right-handed shot defenseman is very hard to find. So overall, I'm fine with. So to me, I look at that as their activity this summer, right? Now, and I think A2 brought it up earlier. how I was pretty much one of the only talking heads in Habs land on YouTube, anyways, talking about how, guys, maybe it's not a great idea to not re-sign the only left-handed center that they have, right? So seeing that Dvorak signed for $5 million, that was a lot of money, right? And even with the cap going up, so I think really the bottom line is you can question whether it was the right move for them. Like, should they have signed Dvorak at $5 million or whatever he signed for? You can debate that because it is a lot of money. But what you can be critical about is that they didn't come up with a plan B to replace him. If you're really, it's been Joe Veleno, and that's a really, really bad situation to put the goaltender in, or to put the coach in, not having that left-handed center to come in. I can't blame them for not finding a 2C because there's not many of those in the NHL, coach. Like, we've done, like, all summer, coach, we were looking at like, me and coach, just for you guys behind the scenes, prepping for shows, we would look at entire NHL rosters and pipelines, and we made a list of all the potential centers Montreal could potentially go after, right? And you'd be surprised how small that list is. And then you have to take that list and then you have to eliminate the teams that have no interest in trading a center. There's just not a lot out there, guys. So you can't blame them for not successfully finding a second line center this summer and so far this season. But you can be critical that they didn't do something that was better for their fourth line as a left-handed. Like, they could have gotten Kampf. There's other solutions that they could have tried. I think that would have been better than Veleno. Their PK would be better right now if they had even a David Kampf. If they even would have gotten that guy. I'm not saying I love somebody's going to say, "Oh, Marko loves David Kampf." No, I'm just saying a player like David Kampf, a left-handed shooting center that can take faceoffs, that can kill penalties. That was the mistake. Armia, yes, he's he's one of the best PKers in the league, but I think he was easier to replace than Dvorak because of the faceoffs. So Veleno and Texier, to me, those were signatures that they did. Again, we brought up Kovacevic, coach. It's the same mistake that they did with Kovacevic, right? They're overestimating the readiness of their young players to come in and be ready. Like I've said many times on here.
That's not boring. It's a good point.
If a young player is ready, if a young player comes and steals a job from a veteran in your bottom six, excellent. That's what you're looking for. But you just don't give them the job and assume that they're going to do it, because if you don't address these things in the summer, it's very hard to do it during the season, right? Especially in a league that has this much parity. So if that's the one thing I would be critical of, coaches, in their planning for the season, they weren't aggressive enough and they didn't value the position of a left-handed defensive center to play PK and take big faceoffs. And as a result of that, everything we've been talking about in the show, and I talked about this summer, I warned you guys about it, overutilization of Nick Suzuki, having less offensive starts, playing in the D zone. This is going to be a huge problem as the season goes on. He's going to get tired. He's going to get less offensive zone starts. And PLW is right. The only reason that Nick Suzuki is on pace for a similar point production that he did last year is because Montreal's power play is much, much better than last year. If Montreal's power play was 15th in the NHL, Nick Suzuki could be less than a point a game in as far as his overall scoring. So it has a trickle-down effect, coach. Like, if you don't build your team the right way and you have a system where you're asking your players to bust their ass and pressure all over the ice, back check, pressure the offensive zone, go forecheck, go hunt the puck down, hit. Like, they're not playing a passive zone defense, right? A lot of times they're playing man-to-man in their hybrid system. You can't do that all the time if you're not playing rolling four lines, and you're spreading out the ice time with your defensemen. So that's the one thing I'm critical. I'm okay with the trades, a little critical of some of the personnel decisions they made and how they underestimated the importance of some veteran presence in the lineup.
Yeah, another great comment that chat, guys. It's very difficult to follow up with every one of you because you bring so many. Daryl, welcome back. And some people knock the door. Welcome, everybody. Don't forget, please, to click on the live. Don't mind, that'd be awesome. Look, you're right. I agree with you. Many of what you just said. Bob Smith, that's another one I want to mention to you. Look, the Dobson situation, Dobson situation is more about his contract. Because I think they pay him more at Lane Hudson. He does not play at the level he should play. But we discover.
But I just addressed that, coach. Like, there's a reason for that, right? Like he was a UFA. That's how it works. You get paid a little bit more when you're a UFA. It's like I don't think it's a fair comparison to compare what
but do you think his value at 9.5 is it's like, it's because he's UFA, I pay him more because he played like he does not play like a $9.5 million right now.
Well, it really depends what you mean by that, coach. Like you have to look at the dollar amount. 9.5 is gonna what is that going to be worth in 3 years from now when the salary cap goes up? Like you can't be too fixated on the salary. Like again, like do we expect Dobson to bring a little bit more than he is right now? I do. And I still think he can be better, but I just don't think it's productive and it's not healthy really to start saying this person makes more, so therefore he should be better, because there's so many things that go into it in terms of how much they sign, how much they sign for.
So for me, it's like, okay, who is better on the offensive, Hudson or Dobson?
Hudson.
An offensive?
Yeah.
I disagree.
Offensively?
Yeah.
Offensively, I think Hudson is better than Dobson. Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you.
Do you think Dobson is better?
No, okay. No, we are just mess up the name.
Okay.
That's it. On the defensive zone, who is better, Hudson or Dobson?
I'd say right now Dobson, but here's the 3 categories I would use, coach: offensive game, defensive game, and the last one I would say is competitiveness. Okay. So I still think so. I would give the edge to Hudson on the offensive side and then on his competitiveness. But on his defensive reads, I still think Dobson is a bit better. Right. So you can disagree. I think overall, like, again, like I think his reads are better defensively, and his reach is better. He's bigger, so he has more of a reach and everything else. The reason Hudson is effective is because of his competitive level, right? Like he doesn't give up on plays. But overall, like, I still think Dobson is a little bit better than Hudson defensively right now, mostly because of his experience and because of his size, right? So all that being said, I think Hudson is going to be a better defenseman than Dobson? Yes. But there's a lot of examples you can go in the league, coach, where you can say there's a player that's better than another player that's making less money because he signed at a different stage of his career, or he signed earlier. It's just not the only thing to compare. And what's the point of comparing it? I don't understand what does it help? What does it do by us comparing how much money they make?
Because it's the same thing about if your player score 50 goals and the next one score 35 goals, but the 35 goals score more goals and make more money at the 50 goals. I think this evaluation of the player by the management is not right. Like, I think you pay right now Lennartson less at Dobson, and Hudson at the end of this contract is going to bring more at Dobson. At the end of the day, you can see right now Dobson is soft. He has no intensity. He got beat around. For the first prior, he is the highest salary cap right now with the Montreal Canadiens, and he's not on the top best 3 player for the Montreal Canadiens.
A lot of that has to do, like I said, coach, if you're just looking at points.
I know, I'm talking about everything.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, the best one is best asset, in my opinion, is when you pick up the puck on the board on the offensive side and you go around. Like you go around. This is what for me is there. Last night, he had 3 one-timer shot. How many shot on the net?
It's for sure. His shot is definitely
Perreault
off right now.
there. But we pay
Sure.
him for that. We that's what we need him. That's what he's supposed to do. Exactly like Jacky. If Jacky does not bring last night his intensity of the toughness, there's no work. Same thing with Thompson. It's not like my point here is you gave a lot in return. You gave Henneman, you gave 2 excellent pick right there. I think Eglum and Atkinson going to have a really good career in NHL.
Eklund's season this year is so, but yeah.
But and then at the end of the day, for me, Dobson is more disappointed, in my opinion, for what I expect. I thought he's going to be better for Montreal Canadiens, and I can understand he's not 30 game, and I understand that part over there. And you pay him for the best, highest number salary cap for the Montreal. We should have get better in return, in my opinion, because the cost is there. It's nothing like the checkup is about Ken Hughes, by the way. It's not about.
But the way that it's framed here, Coach, is you're saying, look how Hudson got screwed. You know, like Hudson is getting screwed by not making as much money, or Montreal made a bad decision signing Dobson for that much. But don't forget, like Hudson technically could have made more, but he chose to make less, right? But he made that decision. Don't forget that Montreal, some of the years that Montreal bought from Hudson were restricted years. The years that Montreal bought from Dobson with this signing are all UFA years. So that's what I'm saying, Coach. It's too oversimplistic to analyze it the way that you're analyzing it. I'm perfectly fine agreeing with you that right now Hudson is a more important and more productive piece for Montreal than Dobson, but it's not fair and it's not accurate way to compare them, because the money that they're making, there's a lot of factors that go into why they're making that. It's just, you can't just compare it that simply. It's just not fair.
Yeah, but again, I think for me, it's going to be another players like Mike Matheson is going to be. Mike Matheson get criticized a lot, and the intensity of the Dobson is going to hurt him a lot in the next couple of years because he's not tough and finding net, does not push anybody.
So here's the real thing. So if we're talking about solutions, here's something that we don't nearly talk enough about when it comes to the Montreal decor, okay? It's the mix. So we're talking about roster construction, right?
Yeah.
Montreal right now, so let's compare it to another defensive core. If you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, right? They have the opposite of what Montreal has. Like, they have very good stay-at-home physical. Remember, like when Montreal had Edmondson and like they have like 4 Edmondsons in Toronto. Very physical, a little bit slower, but very physical and mean and all that, right? But they don't have many puck movers. Like even Riley isn't that great of a puck mover anymore, right? And then you have the opposite with Montreal, where they have Jacky, right? But he's not really a defensive specialist. He can play tough, right? But if you're going to have Dobson, Matheson, and Hudson in your top 4, you better hope that Guhle is going to be able to stay healthy. He's the missing ingredient, right? This summer, all of us on this show anyways, we were like, Guhle and Dobson make sense together, right? Because Guhle is going to be the one that's going to play well defensively. He's going to bring a little bit of toughness. We knew that Dobson wasn't he didn't play tough. Like I knew, I've watched Islanders games. I kind of know how he played. So that's why like signing Matheson, even though I agreed with it, you know, like it makes it tricky, right? Because eventually he's going to have to play on the third pair, because I think in order to make everything balance out, you're going to have Guhle with Dobson, and then eventually you're going to have Hudson with Reinbacher, you hope, and then you have, you know, Matheson with somebody else, right? So in terms of Dobson playing soft, it's a construction thing. He's going to bring a lot of positive things. You just need to have him with the right person. I think Guhle can be that right person. It's just he needs to stay healthy. And that's the biggest thing that we're going to have to see.
Well, the time we tell us about him. Great pick, 16, 17. Yes. Bob, I would be disagree with you guys. Eklund, he was top 10, top 12 with Atkinson. Bob, 16, 17, one of the most average draft. Not sure about that. By the way, Cole Caulfield was
not having an
15.
amazing
Caden
year.
Cody was 16. I can go that way like that. And I would repeat again, guys, in 10 years, maybe I'll be dead. Remember what I said tonight. Atkinson, Eglum are going to be a very big core, important player for the New York Islanders in the future.
Eklund not having the strongest year this year, but Aitchison is having a pretty good year in the OHL. But
Hey, yeah, but
Eklund,
he scored like crazy, a lot of goals. And both of them are the World Junior Championship, by the way. So,
yeah.
the time we tell us, Martin St. Louis, behind the bench, check up Miskal, preparation of his team, and consistency. Defensive system, we talk about this. The goalie and the net decision, who is going to be in the net? Is it one night to Montembeault, Tabash, the other is Montembeault, Fowler now? Adjustment in the game, stuck with his 4 line, most 90%. Change after that, the line, the next game. Timeout in the game after 2 goals, 3 goals, does not call timeout. It's something of his team. Is it only a speed and skill team now? Not shooting the puck enough? Not tough enough, I believe, this year compared to last year. Time or game management by is the way he controls. So time game management is about like at the end of the night, Dimitar play 12 minutes, this guy play only 11 minutes, this guy play 14, everything like that. That's the way I'm talking about. It's not about on the ice, on the season, doesn't play. So I'll give you a mid-skull checkup about Martin St. Louis. So now I'll do the same thing. Diagnostic this and give us some solution.
Yeah, so this one I can see some of your points here, right, Coach? Like, but again, there's a trickle
by the
down
way,
effect.
Marko, I cut you because I think you deserve this one. For people in the chat, when we do show, the co-hosts, I don't know time to tell them what we're going to do, everything like that. So when you come here, like Marko in our tap, Jim, whatever, and I go with fun conversation like I do right now, it's not easy for them to come night, and then you have to find a solution. You have to go live and explain. So I just want to give you congratulations for that, for you and Arta, because this is guys you think, oh, it's not big deal. It's not because it's not big deal. It's because they are not know exactly what's going on. So kudo to you and Arta, by the way.
It's a good thing I watch the games, right? Like, again, like, yeah. So I try to come by the most preparation I do for the show is watch the games carefully and I try to be as knowledgeable as possible. But yeah, like guys, like this is my first time seeing these particular points, but I think I get it here, right? So, so like I was saying, Coach, like you have to think though that there is a trickle down effect with what Martin St. Louis is doing, right? Because he has to deal with the players that he has, right? So how he coaches is going to be impacted by the resources that he has. So we've already established that one of the things that we pinpointed earlier was that we didn't love the depth that the management team gave him going to the season, not giving him a veteran left-handed center to take face-offs for the PK, all those things, right? So he has to manage with the players that he has. Now, where I would be critical is that, and I've said this before about Martin St. Louis, is that Martin St. Louis has a blueprint in his head of how he wants the team to play. And it's not like he just decided this 2 weeks ago. This is a blueprint that he's been building with this group since he's been here, since 4 years now, right, Coach? St. Louis has been there. So for the last 4 years, are you still there or are you frozen?
Go there. Okay. I listen to you.
Okay. So
I'm ready to play at the same time.
Yeah, that's okay. So Martin St. Louis has been building up this team to play a certain way for the last 3-4 years, right? So it's not like he just decided on this blueprint and what he wants the identity to the team. Like the overall concepts and philosophy of the team has been in place for 4 years now. What are those things? Well, he wants a fast team that is going to pressure the puck all over the ice, right? They're going to be proactive. They're going to play very similar to the Carolina. It's like a mix between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers is how St. Louis wants to play, right? It's a fast pressure system that he wants to play. So in order to do that, though, and some you could argue, coach, coach, you're the one that should be answering this because you have experience coaching hockey, which I don't. But from what I know, anyways, is that even though you might have your own philosophy of how you would like the team to play, sometimes you might have to make adjustments to the system because of who you have in order to get success. Now, in the past, where the organization was in their process, it wasn't important for them to get results. So he said, you know what? Even if we lose more often than we win, it's still more important for me to have them play the way that I want them to play, even if we're not going to win as many games. So the question is right now, and Martin St. Louis himself has said it, is that Montreal is at a different phase now. They're not just at a learning phase. They're at a trying to find their standards phase, right? Consistently. So that's the tough thing for Martin St. Louis, coach, is that he wants them to learn how to play the system that he wants because he strongly believes that in the long term, it's the best way for Montreal to win a championship eventually once they're at maturity, right? But you can make the argument that right now, like I've been saying all show, to play the way that he wants them to play, it's almost impossible to do that because some of the players can't do it. And in order to win, you have to overplay certain players to do it, right? So all that to say, coach, is that St. Louis is obviously making the decision to stick with his philosophy more so than adopting or adapting the system. So you can debate that, whether that's the right decision or not, but that's what he's doing. Okay, so I don't know if you agree with that, coach, with how I'm phrasing that or how I'm positioning that, but do you agree that St. Louis is prioritizing continuing to play system versus adapting to get wins right now?
Yeah, when the time you were talking about, I was reflecting about, remember, like, you can explain more about this too, Marco. When he explained, like, when the team is like a baby, like a 3 years old, a 4 years old, then you go to the teenager. And I think he said something, when you get a teenager, you cannot do teaching them the same way like he was teaching. And then you said earlier, a couple of minutes ago, he said, they are not at the same level. He said, you said the words, I cannot remember. You said they are not at the same, or the standard are not the same anymore. That's what you said?
Yeah.
So
they're chasing higher. They're chasing a consistent standard, is what I said.
yeah, exactly. So I think right now this is a great point about what Martin St. Louis is there. But the intensity of the team, and what I'm talking about is, or I reflect on this one, Marco, is about when you rebuild a team, you try to learning about, they are not immature, they are inconsistency. Those words come from us many times, right? Meanwhile, at the same time, we want the Montreal go to the playoff last year because they want them to learn to taste what it looked like the playoff, right? They did that and they go from there. But I think from what they learned, they still did not learn enough to readjust the team what they need at some point. And I think this year it's worse like it was before. I don't think we see toughness. We don't see crash to the net, drive to the net. Like we see, because of their skill, great pass from this one or this one, everything like that. But I still figure out, okay, what is the intensity of Montreal Canadiens? What do you want to become? And I understand when you talk about the forechecking, that the this is this. But I think it would missing piece.
What do you need to do those, coach? But what do you need to do the things that you just said? Is you need energy, right? You need to be able to have consistent energy to do that, right? Let's not forget, Montreal is missing an entire line of players right now. Their whole, and then they on top of missing Newhook and on top of missing, Doc. Then they're also, if you're comparing it to last year, they're missing Dvorak and Armia and Heineman, right? So a lot of the players that they had to maintain rolling four lines. Remember, Martin Saint-Louis says, I want to send waves of players, right? In order to play that aggressive system, think of it like a battery, right? Like you come out, whoops, like all of them look like Brendan Gallagher on the ice. You know how Gallagher at the end of his shift, like he's tired, like you have more and more Brendan Gallaghers out there because they just don't have any gas in the tank. So that's why I'm telling that, like, I'll repeat it again in a simpler way, right? Martin Saint-Louis is making the decision that, because you have two choices, where I'm going to ask my players to continue to play the way that I know in the long run is going to help us win a championship, even though I know that it's not, some of the players can't do it, but that's okay, because I don't want the players who are going to be here in the future, I don't want them to unlearn playing this way. This is non-negotiable playing this way. So the players that are going to stay here, it's got to be natural for them. And we talked about evaluation coach. There's going to be some players that are on the roster that they're going to come to the conclusion, you know what? This guy just isn't going to work in our system. Pick whoever you want to say. Jack-Eye, Struble, Doc, whichever players. If you're not going to fit in the style of play, like look at Rod Brind'Amour, coach, in Carolina, okay? It's very rare what they do in Carolina. They pick players that are going to fit in the style of play that Rod Brind'Amour wants to have. I think that's what Martin Saint-Louis is trying to build in Montreal. He wants it to be a machine, and a player has to interface with that machine. It has to fit and agree to play in the same way. So Martin Saint-Louis right now, you can debate it. Like you can disagree with him. Entertap said earlier, you know what? You just said it in the chat. You have to adapt your system to the talent that you have. So listen, that's a philosophical decision that an organization can make. They can say, you know what? We're going to weaken our long-term plan by changing the way, making our way to play easier so that we can get wins now because we don't have the players to do it. Or you can commit to your long-term plan, see who can hack it. You know the expression, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well, we're going to find out which players can take the heat in the kitchen by being able to play the way that Martin Saint-Louis wants to play. And again, it's very hard for players like Suzuki, players like Matheson is a freak, right? Because he has the cardio of like a vampire. Like he can just go and go and go. But there's certain players that are just not going to be able to have that level because they don't have the depth right now. They lost all this depth, right? So I think it all trickles down together, coach. Like you can't just look at the coaching in a vacuum. There are certain things you can, right? The game management, right? So he's admitted a couple times, like I have to find different ways to use Demidov, get Kapanen more on the ice and stuff like that, right? So for sure, there's still some, Martin has admitted it several times. There's lots of opportunity for him to improve his game management. But to me, I think the identity of the team is very clear. If there's one thing I'm very confident about, you can disagree with whether you think the style of play and the identity that Martin Saint-Louis wants for the Canadiens is one that's going to win them a championship. You can agree or disagree with it, but I wouldn't say that it's not clear. I think it's very clear. And one thing that proves that to me, coach, when Martin Saint-Louis says something in a press conference, for the next week, you hear players repeat it themselves in their own press conferences. And so they're understanding and repeating the things that he's saying. So to me, the identity is clear. So again, you can agree or disagree with it, but that's the decision that they're making right now. That's I'm curious kind of what you think there.
I would be honest with you, Marko. I do this for 6 years, and I go like, I'm right now over like 90 days, no stop here. But in this last 6 years, tonight is maybe the best show about subject and about the checkup medical should do this more often because people in the chat guys are on fire and that's fun option. It's fun observation, Marco, and they are. It's good to see that how the people see the team, how they because we are not stubborn, but we are people. We see one direction, we don't see other. A lot of great comments in the chat for many people, guys, and I
Yeah.
give that to you, for all of you, and then Marco also behind that. And I try to bring subjects. Sometimes it's not easy, and I feel sometimes it's maybe boring. But tonight, I think we hit the nail on that one over there. Look, this is not an easy jam, an easy job for Martin Saint Louis at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, also Marco is like, and you said early, it's not easy winning with he's missing many injuries, like missing players, right? Whatever, it's not like the key players, they're still part of the regular player they expect at the beginning of the season. And I think Jeff said something very good. Until we play with 3, 4, 5 rookies players, don't expect too much about that team because when you're a good team, Marco, like Tampa Bay Lightning, how many rookie they have? You know what I mean? Like those team, the best of the best, Colorado, how many won? It's just they are at another
Montreal's got, like,
level,
6
and we are
rookies.
not there
They
yet.
got, like, 6 rookies on in lineups, in some games. Like, it's crazy, right?
So I just want to bring that one for sure, everybody. I finished the mid-skull checkup. We're going to go with this. We're going to bring this more information about this guy the next show next week. I think we can go there. It's about the player responsibility, Marco. The checkup mid-skull. And I don't want to go one by one. I make an overview. Shift on the net, game management. It was not shift, but shot on the net. I apologize. I'm going to change after that. Game management for the players. Effort in the game. Not enough shot on the net. Not one pay the price. Play with toughness, inconsistency. And that's what we talk on overview for the team. But honestly, that's coming for the players. So I want to hear from you. What do you think about the checkup mid-skull? You can point fun players. And that's what we want to have accomplished for that segment about the players.
Well, again, like I don't want to repeat myself too much on the last ones, right? But to me, this is another level of everything I just said, right? It's all connected, coach, right? So Martin Saint Louis wants them to play a certain way, right? So, but in order to have play with toughness, to pay the price, to have the energy, the effort, game management, making good decisions because you have energy and your brain is not screaming at you because you're out of like oxygen in your blood, like all those things. It all comes down to the way Montreal wants to play is rolling 4 lines, balanced, pressure, play fast, all that, right? So if you don't do that, it's very hard to evaluate which players can or can't do it because you're not running the system the way that it should run. So it's very hard to do that. So a lot of the because there might be 20% of the things that you're noticing here. Like, how do you make the distinction, coach? If you're watching the game, okay, and you see, how do you know whether a guy isn't hustling to on the forecheck because he's lazy or because his legs are on fire because he's played 2 minutes more than he's played in his entire career or whatever, right? Like as a fan, if you don't understand, if you don't see what's happening in the team and see all the kind of like medical data, all the medical data that they have on the players and how, because they have all this data, right? Like how many minutes a player should play to be at an optimal level. This is all data that the sports medicine people have all over the NHL. So, but sometimes they have to go against that because they're trying to win games, right? So to me, all these things, it's hard to understand which player is lazy or isn't willing to sacrifice his body versus which one just doesn't have the energy because he's being overused. So it's hard to understand which is which, right? So we're looking at these. So it's cool that you're putting it almost like as a medical thing, right? Because we're seeing these as symptoms, right? So these are symptoms. Like if you have a cold, okay, you have a dry throat, you have a runny nose. These are what you have here are symptoms of a problem. But what is the disease? What is the problem that's causing these symptoms? Is the real question. And there's my theory on it is what I've been saying the whole time is bad roster design so far, incomplete roster design. It's not ready. There's some mistakes they made this summer. They didn't add certain players that would allow them to run a balanced lineup. And you can argue that there's maybe some of the signings they did that weren't very good, or some maybe Bud Zick isn't giving them what they want. So whatever it is, the roster construction isn't done. So therefore, when you have a team that's not built correctly, it's going to be sick, which means it's not always going to play well. And then you're going to see symptoms like this. It's going to make mistakes. It's not going to have enough energy to play a full 60 minutes because it's like if you have an injury to your leg or a part of your leg and you're overcompensating, so you injure a different part of your body because you're overcompensating, same thing, right? So, Coach, what you're describing here are symptoms. But what is the disease? I think the real disease, my final verdict, Coach, my final diagnosis, Dr. Marko, final diagnosis is incomplete / bad roster design for the 25-26 season so far. That's my final diagnosis.
I like the word incomplete. I think on that one over there for sure. I think every year, Marko, you bring to me the roster construction, also about the evaluation, right? And I think every year when you get out of the year, you have to get, okay, which player we need to keep, what we don't keep. And right now, honestly, for what we learned, Anderson, Gallagher, Montembeault, Strobel, I can go, but this what they have to figure out now is, okay, this is a short term, is it a middle term, is it a long term? They have to figure out. Sometimes they identify what kind of team they want to be, but also who's going to be a part of that.
Yeah, and maybe show for next show, Coach. So just to remind everyone, so the Habs Hump Day, the core of the show is once every month or so, we review like the key performance metrics, like goals against, like how they're trending, right? But then every other couple weeks, we do this thing called Habs Blueprint. So, Coach, maybe that's something we can do next week. And it's exactly what you just said, Coach.
I say Christmas.
Yeah. So, next show, like after the holidays or whatever.
January.
Yeah. Next time we do Habs Hump Day, we'll do a Habs Blueprint. It's kind of what I sent you by text, Coach, right? Like because we know the players are going to be part of the core already. Suzuki, Caulfield, Demidov, Slavkovsky, Hudson. That's pretty much the core. You can argue Guhle. I don't know. But you have the core. Now, which players, we'll call them, that are non-core roster players, which ones are they trending that they're going to be part of the core? Which ones are trending that they're not going to be part of the core? That's kind of what this show, the Blueprint review, the Blueprint check-in is about. It's, okay, we know certain players are going to be here, right? Which ones are really, really making a case to stay and which ones are not? So, Coach, maybe we can do another diagnosis, but we can do the Blueprint check-in next time, and we'll see kind of how those players are trending. There's at least 15, 20 players that we can have on that list of players that we're tracking week to week, month to month, how they're trending, right? So maybe that will be for next time.
Good point about PLW. My final diagnostic better goaltending would have brought 3 or 4 more wins. I would be in the first position about that. I think that definitely about that one. I think, honestly, that's a good point to do that for sure on this one. Here we go. That gave us, guys. Marko, you are discharged from this channel.
Wait, everybody,
about that one over there.
This is not professional. This is not professional medical advice. So don't sue me for any professional medical advice that I give on YouTube. I am not liable.
No, Marko, I think was good. I think it was very good about that. The people was there who want to finish the show that way. And I will see you if Monday you can jump is a party, annual party, Monday night, a couple of minutes or whatever. It's not like you have to be there all night, but if you want to join us Monday night, Christmas like we did last year was about 11 people live at the same time. So that'd be good.
Nice. Well, if we don't see everybody, I want to wish everybody Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, all the things. Hope you have a great holiday. Awesome time to be with family, and just really appreciate all the things that are important, guys. So if I don't get to see everyone, hope you have a great holiday. Lots of great hockey, Coach. Like I'm going to be on holidays here as well, so I'm going to be watching tons and tons. So let's keep in touch. We'll keep a live chat going. I'm sure you'll be watching all that too. So join the Discord, guys. It would be fun to be on the Discord as we're watching all this live hockey, the World Juniors and stuff like that. So hope everybody has a great holiday. And thanks again for joining us on Habs Hump Day.
All right, Marko. Thanks so much. Appreciate Happy holidays to you, my boy. Marko Labi, guys, it was with us tonight on this great special show tonight on the Hockey Nation. Usually we do that clash. We do many things like that. We have a couple of questions we did not answer. I think two of them, it was from Ron. I apologize for that. Montreal have the goaltender, I believe, is going to be the goaltender. Fowler will be the goaltender number one at some point. We're going to cover, guys, Team Canada and everything for the World Junior Championship. So don't miss this, of course. But Monday night, guys, we want to do, of course, the hockey, the party here, Christmas time. A lot of people to thanks tonight, to be honest with you guys. You did an amazing, great job from all of you. And, of course, Marko Larabi. It was really fun to do that exercise. And, look, it's because we have one thing in common. We love the game. We are passionate about the game. And we see the game differently with different kind pair of the eyes. And that's all the beauty of what we do here at the Hockey Nation Show. We do this with respect because all of you have one thing in common better is you are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Exactly, greatness inside of you. Please don't forget to subscribe and become a member and join the Patreon at the Hockey Nation. Until then, my friend, we want to thank all of you to be a part of the show. Moderator, thanks so much. Ajik Abro, the news and update. And all your participation is the most important things. I will see you again, but I don't see you because you're not here all the time. We wish you an amazing, great night. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Take care about your family and your friends. And don't forget to be back tomorrow night for the Montreal game versus the Chicago Blackhawks. We didn't talk about the game yet. That's just crazy what we did tonight, guys. We missed a couple of conversations, but I can't wait to see you next time. Be well, BL. Find a way not only to dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the second half of what? 2025. Thanks so much, everybody. And the Hockey Nation, the Habs Nation, and all the animals, the cat, the kitty, the cat, the fish, the chicken, the ducks, and many others. Want to tell you one more thing. So we love you, friends. Good night, everybody. Thanks again to your participation tonight. I can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Thanks so much, PW. Great conversation, Mr. Maurice Robillard, Cash fan. Nicholas, great. Again, Nicholas, you bring a lot of great points, Nicholas. Bob Smith, my friend, thanks so much. Mark and Artap and Luciano. By the way, guys, we have a special night giveaway next week. If maybe you did not know that, but the Hockey Nation I should create is new giveaway. We're going to start this next week. And we're going to give this only at 10 people because we have not, the production is stuck at 10 by Luciano. And he create, guys, next week our first bobblehead. And it's going to be the connection of Mr. Enartap at Tim Horton next week. Enartap bobblehead is going to be and sell next Monday night. And at Mississauga, we will be and all over the Tim Horton area. When you get your coffee in the morning, ask for the Inartab bobblehead. And it may become with the coffee. I'm not sure about this, but LDP, thanks so much. RJ Cabro, Nicholas again, and everybody else. Have an amazing, great night, everybody. See you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, at 7 o'clock p.m. Booyah!